Hi, my name is John Blue, and this is Course Crash History of the World. Today, we're going to be talking about Austria.
Mr. Blue, do you mean Australia's like kangaroos?
No, me from the past. Australia is a country in the Pacific Ocean. Austria is a central power in Europe during the 1800s. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually half Austrian. Fan, could you shut off the music? As I was saying, if you don't know, I'm actually half Austrian, and back in Mother Austria, our motto was Austria, home of the Congress. In 1814, the Congress of Vienna was established to restore the balance of power to Europe, effectively ending the Napoleonic Wars. The Congress of Vienna also established the concept of conservatism, which was conceived by our savior, Clemens von Metternich.
The Congress of Vienna was led by Clemens von Metternich. Metternich was born in 1773 into a rich family. His father was an envoy for Austria. In 1778, Metternich attended the University of Strasbourg. However, due to the Napoleonic Wars, he had to flee Strasbourg into Mainz, where he completed his diplomatic degree. For the next couple of years, he's wandered around Europe trying to find a job. He decided to reside with his father in Austria. In Vienna, he met a girl named Eleanor von Kuetz, who was the granddaughter of the Austrian chancellor. Through this, he was able to get to high ranks in the Austrian government. In 1809, he was appointed the Austrian minister by King Francis I. The pinnacle of Metternich's career was the Congress of Vienna. Not only did he restore the balance of powers in Europe, he also introduced a conservative mindset. He also influenced Germany and Italy to remain into confederations instead of states. This allowed Austria to remain the central power in Europe. He stayed in office until 1848 when he was released and died a couple years later. Austria wasn't all about government, you know. We also had many scientific discoveries. For example, the father of genetics, Gregor Mendel. Let's go to the thought bubble. Gregor Mendel was born in Austria in 1882. He spent most of the time doing agricultural work for his family, but he was recognized in school for his excellent academics when he discovered... In 1843, he graduated from the University of Olmütz in the honors program. However, he decided to take a job as a monk in the St. Thomas Monastery in Brno. There, he was exposed to the libraries at the monastery. He was fascinated with what he had learned about human genetics and the hereditary traits, so he decided to do some experimentation. Over the next 8 years of his life, he discovered many new things about the characteristics of plants. His two major discoveries were A, the law of segregation, which states that each trait has a dominant and recessive parts, and B, the law of independence, which states that traits are passed down independently and have no correlation between each other. Because of this, Gregor Mendel is known as the father of modern genetics. Thank you, Fan, for that excellent thought bubble.
Next up, technological innovations by the Austrian Empire from 1800 to 1900. The internal combustion engine by Siegfried Marcus. This guy was an absolute genius. He invented this in 1864, and it was an engine that turned gasoline/oil into straight up kinetic energy. The gasoline heated air and compressurized it, and then powered a piston, and it replaced the steam engine as the method of powering modes of transportation. Next up, the Doppler effect, discovered by Christian Doppler in 1842. This is the change of frequency depending on the position of an observer, such as you all have probably heard, a siren. When it goes from the distance to when it comes near you, it sounds different. Why? Ask Christian Doppler. This is the reason why sirens glissando from high to low so that people from any distance can hear them. They also measure the movement of things like stars and galaxies from far away based on their redshift or their blue shift. Furthermore, this is used in radar, sonar, and even medical imaging with things like blood flow. Next, the kinetic theory of gases by Boltzmann. This guy was also a genius like many other Austrians. He found out that subatomic particles move randomly inside a container, bouncing off each other in the walls, and this led to the discovery of things like how to calculate pressure, conductivity, volume, and other characteristics of gases exactly. Furthermore, this guy coined various terms like the Boltzmann constant and other chemistry or scientific facts that don't matter at all to this class. Finally, the last great innovation, the discovery of the blood groups by Landsteiner. This guy discovered the classification of blood groups in 1900, barely squeezing himself into this honorable mention list. And then, furthermore, he discovered the AB type, which was the universal recipient, and the O type, which is the universal donor. This directly led to the first successful blood transfusion and the many other blood transfusions that save countless number of lives today. And furthermore, it even won Landsteiner a Nobel Peace Prize in 1930. What a guy! Speaking of Landsteiner, it's time for my open haiku. Landsteiner, my muse. Who else would have discovered blood groups? Nobody.
One of the most frequent questions to get is, John Blue, how does your country deal with internal peoples who are outside of the homogeneous population? Well, as you can see, Austria is mainly made out of German peoples. However, in southern Austria there are many people who are actually Slavs. And in fact, Austria is such a great country that these Slavs are simply treated with equality, like all Germans are in Austria. Another frequently asked question is, what are your plans for people outside of your nation who are also part of the homogeneous population? Well, it's simple. Since the Austro-Prussian War that resulted ultimately in the creation of Germany, most of our Germans are actually in Germany, and now we have a really nice relationship with Germany.
In the end, the Austrian government was an extremely successful government that lasted over 200 years. And maybe today, we could learn a thing or two from them. Horse Crash History of the World is brought to you by these wonderful people. Make sure to support us by giving us a shout out at fam.edu at pisd.gov.
Thank you.